It took a while for the sonic screwdriver to soften the stuff blocking the door. Martha had time for another cup of tea and one side chat with the mouthless man in the Burma shorts and the leather apron. It seemed brilliant at first that she could tell him anything and all he could do was listen. But then fairness of it soon got to her. She had told him all about her family and the dad and Annalise. She didn't realize how teeny things about the mouthless man himself. Did he like his job? Did he have someone who loved him? He just watched her, nodding encouragingly, but not even able to smile. Again, she felt the fierce determination to do something for these people, somehow, and she and the doctor are going to make things better. Great, said the doctor, poodling the scrambled eggs with his fingers. Think that's soft and squishy. How thick is it? Asked Martha, suddenly rather nervous. No idea, said the doctor. I've never done this before. Can't be too thick if it resonates so quickly, but who knows? That's not exactly reassuring. No? Well, I'll be along right after you. We can compare notes on the other side. Okay, she says, not feeling very much better. She took a deep breath and braced herself. With this was a fairground ride. And don't wander off, said the doctor. She stuck her tongue out at him and walked boldly right into the strange material. The scrambled egg material closed tightly around her, cold and rubbery and awful. Martha pushed on through. She emerged, blinking, into a narrow corridor, all dark and varnished wood, with plush red carpet underfoot. You could tell there had been money spent on it. Sure, but the corridor felt cramped and not very extravagant. Someone as tall as the doctor would have trouble standing up straight. There were none of the eggy material on her. She was entirely clean. She glanced briefly up and down the corridor to check nobody was coming. Martha itched to explore further, but she knew at the moment that she did, the doctor would pop through the scrambled egg behind her, only to roll his eyes. So she settled down on the floor and waited for him. Her back rested against the smooth hardwood. She checked her watch. It was a little after 2 in the morning. Time didn't mean much when you traveled with the doctor. The floor and walls vibrated gently with power, and in the pit of her stomach, Martha could feel that the ship was moving. She pressed a hand against the skin of the scrambled eggs that blocked the way back into the engine room. It felt warm and slightly sticky, but it did not yield. She shivered with a sudden fear. Of course, she thought. There wasn't any way that she could be separated from him forever. If the door didn't work, he could use the teleporter thing. Whatever it took, the doctor would find a way to get back to her. She had complete faith in that. But it was still taking him ages. Martha found that she was bored. Come on, she told the wall of cold scrambled eggs. I'll give you 5 minutes and then I'm going to go explore. Are you quite well, madame? Said a voice she didn't know. Martha looked around quickly to see her own face reflected back at her. She looked a little surprised. I do beg your forgiveness, said the polished metal robot, backing away from her smoothly. His tone made it sound as if when he spoke, he was also raising one eyebrow, as if it were all her fault. He wasn't like the robots on Milky Pink City. While they had been all keen to please, he sounded well-schooled and sarcastic. Martha looked at him quickly up and down. "You're some kind of waiter?" she said. "Really, madame, you are too kind," said the robot drolly. "I am a starship steward. Of course you are," said Martha, getting quickly to her feet. The robot made no move to assist her. He was a bit shorter than she was, and even skinnier, his chrome surface sparkling brightly, and she found him somehow unsettling. It took a moment for her to realize that he hadn't been built to seem like a man in a suit. Not even the doctor with his skinny arms and legs could fit inside the slender of body. The robot of Milky Pink City had been built with bigger bones and not to freak out the humans. "Might I inquire as to your breath number, madame?" the robot asked her wearily. She got the feeling it spent a lot of time rounding up the passengers. "My what?" said Martha. "Sorry, I'm new around here." Somewhere off in the distance, Martha felt sure she had heard a crash. Not a crash like the ship changing one gear or anything. A crash like something's going wrong. The robot didn't seem to notice, though. It stared at her with an unmoving metal eye. "Your birth number, madame," he repeated. "It will be on your key fob on the door of your breath." "Oh," said Martha, "like my room number." "Indeed, madame," said the robot. "Oh, well, I'm not," she was about to say, and then she wasn't a passenger, but then the son thought, "What do they do with stowaways around here?" The robot stood up a little straighter. "Checking," he said. After a moment that seemed to suggest that it had delivered through a vast bank of memory, it continued. "There are no predestined for dealing with stowaways aboard the Brilliant, madame. Yet the regulations state that our first priority is to our passengers' safety. So in such an instance, the crew are authorized to use the use of deadly force." "Right," said Martha. "You'd kill them?" "We would be authorized to do so." "Might I inquire as to your birth number, madame?" "Oh, right," she said. "It's 28. That was the sonic screwdriver setting the doctor had used on the scrambled eggs. Maybe it was lucky." "Checking," said the robot. Martha waited for it to conclude that she was a liar and the threat of the passengers. She couldn't see if it had any weapons, but perhaps it fired lasers out of its eyes. Martha had met a couple of species who could do stuff like that. "I do apologize, Miss Minac," said the robot. "I shall remember your name from now on." "That's okay," said Martha nervously. "But really you can call me Martha." "As you wish, Miss Martha," said the robot. Again, there was a crash from somewhere else on the ship, possibly upstairs. It definitely wasn't anything good. Again, the robot seemed not to notice. Martha gave it the benefit of the doubt, and worried that if she started asking questions, it would make the robot suspicious. "And have you got a name?" she said, "since we're being all informal." The robot bowed. "My designation is Gabriel." "Hello, Gabriel," said Martha easily. "Glad we got to that sorted." "Indeed, Miss Martha," said Gabriel. He seemed to be waiting for something. Martha couldn't think of what it was. She found the unnerving being watched at the best time, but this bloke, this was impossibly skinny body, and his head that worked like a mirror, and really something else. "What?" she said. "Might I get you an effetier, Miss Martha?" said Gabriel. "That'd be nice," said Martha. "What have you got?" "I might be the best were you to accompany me to the cocktail lounge with Martha." Then you could choose from our extensive menu. Ah, said Martha. Thing is, I'm waiting for this bloke. I'm programmed with this description Parliament permits, Miss Martha, said Gabriel. No, nothing like that. You're as bad as my mom. I do apologize, Miss Martha. He's not just this bloke, nothing special. Nothing you know. And I meant to wait for him, she grinned. Could you just go and fetch me a cocktail? I regret that I am not advised to encourage passengers to take drinks out of the cocktail lounge, Miss Martha. It's a health and safety thing, is it? The third crash was met with a noticeable, and the whole ship lurched under their feet. Martha collided with a very hard dark wood of the wall. Gabriel swayed assertively in time with the lurching and remained coolly on his feet. No, Miss Martha, he said. They might have spilled them. And that would make a mess of our lovely carpets, I suppose, she said. More importantly, it would inconvenience the passengers, Miss Martha. Martha sighed. It wasn't merely that she said she wouldn't wander off after all. The doctor would expect her to use her, especially since it's all these crashes. There had been something going on, but things always had to be so complicated, didn't they? She wanted to ask the robot what this was all about, but feared it might show that she wasn't a passenger, and then the robot might kill her. So she had to go along with him, though she had no way to tell the doctor where she had got to. Martha never really been one for handbags, mostly because she kept losing them. But now a pen and a bit of paper would have been quite useful. If I might make a suggestion, Miss Martha, said Gabriel. Once you have accompanied me to the cocktail lounge, I would be happy to return here. I could wait on this gentleman and explain to him where you are. Well, yeah, that'd be good, said Martha, but she'd been with the doctor long enough to know a trap when she saw one. Why are you so keen on getting me to this cocktail lounge? The robot had a smooth and expressionless face, and yet still contrived to look guilty. I apologize for my perceived subterfuge, Miss Martha, he said. And if I refuse to go with you? Checking, said Gabriel. The regulations state that first priority is our passenger's safety, so in such an instance I would be authorized to escort you by force. I see, said Martha. So I really don't have any choice, do I? This didn't seem to have occurred to Gabriel. Checking, he said. He checked for a moment and then admitted dully, No, Miss Martha. Martha tried to remember the route as they made their way to the cocktail lounge. They turned left again, then right, then made their way up a wide staircase. The ceilings were higher on this new level, but still felt cramped and claustrophobic. Gabriel led Martha into a lavish ballroom with vast spaces after narrow corridors, but still small and claustrophobic. Loud, laughing voices came from somewhere beyond. 2 rows of slender columns divided the room in 3. The columns reached from the floor to the ceiling, suggesting that such a wide open space threatened the integrity of the ship. Martha had already learned that space travel was never as glamorous and clean as it looked on telly. Yet when the doctor had told her about the Brilliant before, she imagined something slightly less difficult, something glamorous and a bit posh. This was more like a wrecky old crate with nice carpet. Another robot packed up tables and stacked them in the corner. Martha had clearly missed dinner. It all just got better and better. Gabriel didn't seem to acknowledge this other robot as he led Martha past. She resisted the urge to help with the tables, but as she crossed the room, she could see the carpet glittering with broken glass. Now she looked, one of the tables had been smashed apart too. The robot stacked broken pieces. Again, the robot declined to acknowledge whatever had happened. Martha felt a sudden need to run, though she knew how she had nowhere to go. Besides, the voices coming from the next room sounded lively and friendly. Beyond the ballroom and through the discreet doors, the small cocktail lounge awaited. Her nostrils flared with a sudden tang of orange and lemons. For a moment she thought the lounge must be perfumed, but as she stepped through the door, she realized the sweet stench came from the tentacled aliens. There was many a dozen of them, tubby, egg-shaped creatures, either all orange or all pale blue. They crowded around the great bay windows, looking out onto twinkling stars. Martha realized that they were right at the end of the ship, where the passengers could sip elegant drinks and admire the view. Their ball gowns looking expensive and floaty, and they all got lots of heavenly jewelry all down their long, nimble tentacles. Martha watched them busy with chatter and drinking, and ignoring her arrival. For all she couldn't name the species, she felt like she must have seen them before, and then it struck her. It was like going to the party with Mr. Tickle's family. "Hello," she said brightly, like her sister did at parties. The alien stopped talking and looked at her. There was a sudden horrible sense. And silence. Said Martha. She hated being the center of attention. And these aliens had big staring eyes. It didn't help that she knew their posh party enough that the stars deepened into the sorry, mouthless man slaving away downstairs. "Might I get you an aperture, Miss Martha?" said Gabriel. The party of aliens clearly took this as a mean they could carry on with the urgent conversation. Martha was again ignored. She couldn't thank Gabriel enough. "That'd be nice," said Martha. "What have you got?" Another robot manned the long bar on one side of the lounge. The menu offered all kinds of brightly colored drinks Martha had never heard of. The only thing she recognized on the list was hydrogen hydroxide, or water, as they called it back home. Martha could have it in a glass, in a bowl, or in an immature mim. She thought she could live without knowing exactly what the last one was. She sipped the water, feeling underdressed in her jeans and vest top, and terribly pale and awkward around the dumpy aliens. It was no fun being so noticeable at a party. It made her feel self-conscious. She just wanted to be invincible. Slowly, Martha made her way to greet the bay window and looked out onto the darkness beyond. The stars seemed teeny, so distant that she could tell if the ship were moving towards them or away. Perhaps one of the teeny pinpricks of light was her own son, or perhaps she was too far from home for even that. She would never get used to the feeling. "And what do you make of all these, dear?" asked an orange alien beside her. So suddenly Martha spit her glass of water. "Oh, I'm sorry," said Martha, feeling even more stupid as the aliens turned to look at her. "No, no," said the alien kindly. "We're all a little unnerved. Miss Wingsworth, my friends call me Miss Wingsworth." "I'm Martha," said Martha, holding out her hand. Miss Wingsworth peered at her suspiciously. "Is there something the matter with your paw?" she asked. "No," laughed Martha. "It's a custom on my planet we shake hands when we make friends." She slowly reached the tip of Miss Wingsworth's right tentacle and showed her how it's done. The tentacle felt rough and wrinkled, like an elephant's trunk. "How marvelous!" laughed Miss Wingsworth. "I must remember that for my brother. He's great enthused for primitive creatures." "My pleasure," said Martha, although she did feel it. Last time she'd been so patronized, she'd been washing floors at school. "So what do people What are people unnerved about? Is there something going on? My dear, said Miss Wingsworth, wrapping a tentacle around her in what Martha realized was meant to be a friendly manner. I'm afraid, said Miss Wingsworth, gleefully, like this was such an adventure, that our vessel had been invaded. What? Said Martha. By who? By, teased Miss Wingsworth, taking her time to explain, aliens. They're trilling, isn't it? Martha wished she had been asked for something stronger than a glass of water. Of course there had been alien invasion somewhere. There always was when the doctor showed up. What kinds of aliens? She said. You'll be able to see in a minute. They're making their way down here. Probably want to kill a few of us, said Miss Wingsworth. Seemed to find the whole thing a delicious fun. Martha extracted herself from the long orange tentacle and made her way over to Gabriel. Has the Brilliant been invaded? She asked the robot. I'm afraid so, Miss Martha, said Gabriel. They gave orders that the passengers should remain in their room and that they would kill anyone who's left. That's why you brought me here, then, Martha asked. Gabriel, it's for my own safety. Indeed, Miss Martha. Oh, we'll be perfectly all right, dear, said Miss Wingsworth, so as long as we do what we're told. But Gabriel, the doctor will walk right into them, she said. The bloke I was waiting for, I mean. I shall return to the engine room and intercept him, said Gabriel. Please do not worry yourself, Miss Martha. He turned to go, and Martha ordered a refill of water from his colleague behind the bar. A gasp of excitement from the other passengers made her turn quickly around. 3 burly humanoid spacemen stood in the doorway of the cocktail lounge, chunky-looking guns in their hands. Their faces were hidden by dark, domed space helmets. A skull and crossbones had been crudely painted on the chest of the battered spacesuits. They were pirates. There you are, snarled one of them gruffly, jabbing his gun towards Gabriel. They had just blocked his way out of the cocktail lounge. The robot bowed his head courteously. Repressed by passengers to precedence over, he began. The pirate shot him without a second thought, and Gabriel vanished in a flash of blinking pink lights. Several of the alien passengers screamed. When the light died away, there was nothing left to see of Gabriel. He had completely been obliterated. Martha had learned to keep silent, but still she felt utterly bereaved. That had been her fault, right then. You horrible lot, the pirate assessed. Then, no one else even leaves the room, not even going to the toilet. The other pirates had positioned themselves around the cocktail lounge strategically and seemed satisfied that they had now held the room. Martha could only keep any 2 of them in line. Her vision at once. The pirate who had shot the robot nodded at his colleagues, and each pirate in turn worked the controls of the neck of the spacesuit. There had been a hiss of air as the suits depressed, and then the robot killer took off his helmet. Martha gasped. She glanced back around at the other pirates, who were also removing their helmets. They were the same species. Each pirate wore a thick gold earring on his left ear, so heavy it made their ears droop, and they each had the same twin black stripes running down their hairy faces, making a mischievous twinkling eyes. It took Martha a moment to realize she was looking at the pirates. They were badgers.